What did he just say? He was going to indict all of his political opponents?
He told a rally that he would tell his attorney general to indict his political opponents. I mean, that's
a banana republic without the banana. I mean, it's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing.
Now, that's more than a little ironic, I've got to say. That was Manderson Pooper at CNN giggling his way through an interview with Nancy Pelosi and claiming that President Trump said that he would use his attorney general to indict, his political opponents. And Nancy Pelosi says, well, that would be a banana republic without the banana. I guess she doesn't really follow the news. I don't know if you've noticed the Democrats indicting their political opponent, which is the banana republic to which Nancy Pelosi is apparently referring. Isn't that amazing? And Manderson just giggling up a storm like a little girl with Nancy Pelosi, because it's all a Democrat party circle fest. Pretty amazing stuff. That would be a banana republic without the banana. Why without the banana? It would just be a republic then? Is that then that's the way she sees it? And Anderson Cooper, what a good party apparatchik he is. And he comes from one of the wealthiest families in the country, one of the wealthiest families in the history of the country. He can take the helicopter down to Biltmore House in North Carolina and party up a storm over weekends, and it's different being Manderson Pooper and all that. Yeah, so President Trump. Let's listen. I want to stop and start that a little bit because I want to hear the way that Manderson Pooper puts it to Nancy Pelosi, so that she can, with not a hint of irony, say that would be a banana republic, but without the banana, which would, of course, just be a republic.
What did you just say? He was going to indict all of his political opponents?
He told a rally that he would tell his attorney general to indict his political opponents. I mean, that's
that. He told a rally that he would tell his attorney general to indict his political opponents. And, President Trump, when he has rallies, it's half nightclub routine. And they still, remember the whole thing about how they take him literally, but they don't take him seriously? And every time he's got an off-the-cuff quip, they're like, oh, no, it's the end of the Banana Republic or whatever. And then you watch the video and you see that he's doing it as a joke and he's got a smirk and everybody laughs in the audience. And President Trump.
But remember, it's a Democrat charging his opponent. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. That means that if I win and somebody wants to run against me, I call my attorney general. I say, listen, indict him. Well, he hasn't done anything wrong that we know of. I don't know. Indict him on income tax evasion. You'll figure it out.
See, so there he is doing shtick. And what he's doing is dramatizing the point that the Biden Justice Department and Biden prosecutors up and down the East Coast are indicting him on, in most cases, and these spurious charges, these absurd charges. And there's President Trump making a quip, a joke, and to dramatize the fact that the Democrats are indicting him all over the place because he's their political enemy. Now let's go back to Manderson Pooper and start that over again, actually, because now we've heard what President Trump actually said, knowing that it's a classic Trump technique that he uses. And he said, well, this is what they're doing to me. So they're, again, like when Harry Reid said you only need 50 votes for federal judges. And then Mitch McConnell says, well, Harry Reid changed the rules. Now we only need 50 votes in the Senate for federal judges, and that includes Supreme Court justices. So we're going to go with your rules. And Nancy Pelosi doesn't have a House floor vote before proceeding with an impeachment inquiry, and that's fine for 5 weeks. But when Kevin McCarthy says, well, no, we're not going to hold a House vote before launching the impeachment inquiry, the media applies the double standard. And now here's President Trump doing what he so often does, making a mockery or mocking the Democrats indicting him and the corrupt Justice Department. He says, well, then when I become president, that's what I'll do. I'll just tell my attorney general to indict whoever's running against me. On what? He hasn't done anything. He's doing jokes, right? It doesn't matter. Make something up. Tax problems, So he says, and it's clearly shtick. But by the time you get to CNN and Nancy Pelosi, it becomes this.
What did you just say? He was going to indict all of his political opponents?
He told a rally that he would tell his attorney general to indict his political opponents. I mean, that's a
banana republic without the banana. I mean, it's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing.
It goes back to the fact that they hate being satirized. They hate being mocked, right? And I point this out frequently because it's so true and it's proven again and again and again. President Trump is mocking them. He's ridiculing them. Then Manderson Pooper presents it as though he was pounding the table saying, I'm going to use my attorney general to indict my political enemies, when that's not at all what happened. Nancy Pelosi, being completely out of touch with everything around her, said, well, that's a banana republic without the republic, which is a republic. And Manderson Pooper doesn't bother to point that out. Well, a banana republic without the banana is a republic, and we are a democratic republic. So that's the thing. Our news media, boy, oh boy, oh boy. That's just extraordinary stuff. All right, let's go to number 14, because Nancy Pelosi was still talking to Manderson Pooper, and of CNN, and the Cooper family is wealthy enough, but of course he's Vanderbilt, his mother Gloria Vanderbilt, who got around. Know what I'm talking about? She got around, and it's got to be kind of tough. He knows all about it, but it's okay. So asked about Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi, by Manderson Pooper, whether Kamala Harris is the best choice, because the Washington Post, they all follow each other. It's a centipede, and the news media is. And David Ignatius, a stooge at the Washington Post, yesterday wrote a piece saying that Joe Biden, he's very sad and lamentful, that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris should not run for re-election in 2024. And so now everybody's following David Ignatius. I shared that with you yesterday before I saw anybody else share it, and it was widely shared yesterday afternoon and evening. The Washington Post piece saying Joe Biden and Kamala Harris shouldn't run for re-election. But here, Manderson puts the question to Nancy Pelosi, is she really the best, for our party, the Democrat Party?
Is Vice President Kamala Harris the best running mate for this president?
He thinks so, and that's what matters. And by the way,
you think so?
She's very politically astute. I don't think people give her enough credit. She's, of course, values-based, consistent with the president's values and the rest. And people don't understand, she's politically astute. Why would she be vice president if she were not?
That's a good question. It's unfortunate that the answer is racist and sexist, because the Democrats are the party of racists and sexists. And she was chosen because she checked boxes on the identity politics checklist, and because she had that sexual affair with Willie Brown, when she was in California. And that really launched her career, took off like a rocket ship. So we've got that going. It's pretty amazing stuff. And she's got President Biden's values of open borders and overrunning the country with millions and millions of illegal aliens, and more than 100,000 deaths a year from fatal drug overdoses, and the fentanyl flows across, and we got ISIS smuggling Uzbeks into the country through Mexico, got Chinese nationals, got more people on the terror watch list nabbed at our southern border. President Trump's last year in office, 2020, we captured 3 people on the terror watch list at the southern border. So far this year, it's more than 140. More than 140, more than 90 last year. How many are we not catching? Because, believe it or not, we don't catch them all. And they've got the same values, which reminded me of another story I saw today, which is quite amazing. And that is that the drug problem has gotten so terrible in the United States of America that 13 states have joined together. 13 states have now joined together to distribute Narcan. Narcan is the remedy for opioid overdoses, right? Communities across Appalachia band together for the first ever 13-state Narcan distribution event. And that's not a story that the news media is covering, because in a single year in the United States, more fatal drug overdoses than we had Americans killed in the Vietnam War, the Korean War, and all of the post-9/11 wars combined. That's the number of fatal drug overdoses. That's Iraq, Afghanistan, and beyond since September 11th, plus the Vietnam War, plus the Korean War. And we had more people die in a single year of fatal drug overdoses, in large part because of Democrat Party policies and open borders. And nobody's fighting this drug war. They're not going after the cartels in Mexico. We're not securing our border. There's no discussion about it at any level of government, well, at local, because all the junkies sprawled out on sidewalks all across America, and now tent cities going up. Just amazing stuff. Amazing. And then Manderson wasn't dead with his deep and probing interview on Kamala, maybe not being the best call for the party.
People shouldn't underestimate what Kamala Harris brings to the table.
Really?
Do you think she is the best running mate, though?
She's the vice president of the United States. So when people say to me, well, why isn't she doing this or that? I said, because she's the vice president. That's the job description.
To not do anything?
You don't do that much. You're a source of strength, inspiration, intellectual resource in the best, I think she's represented our country very well at home and abroad.
She saved the funniest part for the last there. That's the punchline. That's save the punchline for the end there, and she did. That's pretty amazing stuff. Yes, sir. Manderson pooper, pooper, pooper. Speaking of Democrats, that reminds me of pig kidneys. I don't know why it reminds me of pig kidneys, but it does. Pig kidney works for a record 2 months in donated body, raising hope for animal-human transplants. That's the Associated Press. Yes, I know that makes everyone think of the Democrats. Out of New York, the Associated Press, dozens of doctors and nurses silently lined the hospital hallway in tribute. For a history-making 2 months, a pig's kidney worked normally inside the brain-dead man on the gurney rolling past them. I wonder what music was playing. I want to know the music. What song would you choose for that event, Michael? The dramatic experiment came to an end Wednesday as surgeons at NYU Langone Health removed the pig kidney and returned the donated body of Maurice Mo Miller to his family for cremation. It marked the longest genetically modified pig kidney, has ever functioned inside a human, albeit a deceased human. And by pushing the boundaries of the research with the dead, this is like Frankenstein, Part 12, the scientists learned critical lessons they're preparing to share with the Food and Drug Administration. Naturally, who else would you call? In hopes of eventually testing pig kidneys in the living. Well, you just tested a pig kidney in the living. So you need a kidney transplant. You can get a pig. Thing is that they did this. And they installed the pig kidney. And the man who was already brain dead, essentially deceased, immediately started behaving like Bill Clinton. It was kind of weird. Had all these Bill Clinton characteristics. Started grabbing women walking by. It's a pig kidney. That's the thing. And here we go with pig organs being transplanted into human beings, and we're going to make this work. You know why? The patriarchy. You're welcome. Hey, President Biden's plan to introduce the digital dollar is already underway, and it should not be. And it's very important to understand the potential consequences here, because notwithstanding the falsehoods they're telling us, this initiative is not in our best interest at all. And time is of the essence, so getting smart now is a great idea. You can help protect your savings, your retirement, your family from the risks of Joe Biden's digital dollar scheme by diversifying with gold and silver IRAs. You get started by calling the experts and our friends here at the Chris Plant Show, the experts at American Alternative Assets. Give them a call today at 888-4GOLD20. That's 888-446-5320. Get all the guidance you need on safeguarding your retirement savings. Say no to Joe Biden's digital dollar. Call 888-4GOLD20. Individual results may vary. There is no guarantee that past performance will be indicative of future results. Seek your own legal, tax, investment, and financial advice before opening an account. Bam, bam, da, down, da, down. A pig kidney. You know, that's just crazy. Maurice Miller, his family offered him up. It's an experiment that came to an end. The longest genetically modified pig kidney ever to have functioned inside a human. He was deceased. That patriarchy does amazing stuff, don't they? Hey, it's Chris Plant. Excited to tell you about our July 2024 Listener Sea Cruise. We'll be sailing around the British Isles, visiting Scotland and Ireland. Please join us. Book by this July 31st for extra savings. Visit ChrisPlantCruise.com. I literally just pinned up that Soviet author Elena Gorakova's quote on the wall behind me here. That now comes into play pretty much every day. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Mike calling from Gainesville, Virginia. Michael, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, good morning, Chris Plant.
Hey, Mike.
You know, somewhere in video history, there's an interview with Joe Biden where he's asked, what's his secret sauce to make his agenda work? And he whispers back, plausible deniability. And I think it's been memory hold somewhere. I've been looking through the internet trying to find it this morning. I can't locate it. It'd be a good project for somebody to find where he says that's what makes his ideas function, is this plausible deniability. But we've reached the point where now it's implausible deniability. What they're telling us is stuff that nobody believes is true, but it's like a cult where you just have to say you believe what they're telling you is true, even though you know it's not.
And that goes exactly to the Soviet quote that I just shared, doesn't it?
Yeah, that we're in the Soviet Union. We just don't recognize it yet. We've been Sovietized. Yep.
I've been using the word Sovietized for some time. You're exactly right, Michael. It is we are Sovietizing the left. The Democrats are Sovietizing everything about this country. They're not liberals. They're the left. The Cold War isn't over. It just morphed and moved. And the left is here, and they're coming for capitalism. They're coming for the kids. You know, the Lenin quotes about getting a hold of your kids, sowing the seeds. And always remember that Lenin also said, the goal of socialism is communism. Keep that in mind. Well, we were just talking to Mike about Joe Biden and his plausible deniability. And Joe Biden may have said that at one point and whispered it the way that Mike remembers it. It may also be a reference to another moment that you were thinking of, Mike, having to do with Tony Bobulinski, CEO of one of the Biden family's many corporations that have no particular business or line of work. But they have a lot of LLCs, and millions of dollars roll into the Biden family name for doing nothing. And CNN and the New York Times think that that's fine, and there's nothing to see there. But listen to this. Here is Tony Bobulinski being interviewed by Tucker Carlson, and talking about the money and all. How do you think you're going to get away with all this? You think you're just going to be able to take in these millions of dollars and nobody's going to notice and nothing will come of it? And of course, it turns out that's exactly what's happening. But this was Tucker Carlson interviewing Biden company CEO Tony Bobulinski, who then came out later as a whistleblower and has told the truth all over the place. And they still pretend there's no evidence of any wrongdoing. Here's Tony B.
Thinking about the Biden family, like, how are they doing this? I know Joe decided not to run in 2016, but what if he ran in the future? Aren't they taking political risk or headline risk? And I remember looking at Jim Biden and saying, how are you guys getting away with this? Like, aren't you concerned? And he looked at me and he laughed a little bit and said, plausible deniability.
Plausible deniability. Plausible deniability. It's very, very Soviet stuff. That goes back, the term plausible deniability, to the Church Committee investigating corruption at the CIA in the 1970s, a plot to assassinate Fidel Castro, and how they're going to get away with it. And plausible deniability was built in. It was part of the structure. Isn't that amazing? Yes, it is. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I am telling you. It never ends. Also, X, Elon Musk, X. It's not the best name, is it? Yeah. And he's got this X, SpaceX, and he likes X. He's got a lot of X thing. And you'd think that on X, they would allow you to post videos of a Democrat running for the House of Delegates in Virginia that's porn. It's not softcore porn, it's hardcore porn. And, but she set up the cameras. She was being paid for her fully naked porn stuff, and now she's complaining that she's the victim in all this. She made more porn videos that were online. They're doing it live online and telling people to send her money.
You have no idea how much money it takes to take care of me.
You have no idea how much money it takes to take care of me. Definitely a Democrat, no doubt about that. That's amazing stuff. And the videos have been shared, and people are sharing them on X, Elon Musk's X platform. And it's kind of crazy because then X actually suppressed the videos and stopped the sharing of the videos because they said it was revenge porn. Revenge porn, as every school child knows, is when you make video of, usually yourself having sex with someone, and then, it's like, hey, look at this, isn't this fun? And then you have a breakup or you have a falling out or something. And then one person takes the porn and posts it online. That's revenge porn. This is not revenge porn. When you are running a business where you're basically a prostitute online, not in person, but, it's a brave new world with the internet and everything. And she's having sex with her husband, and also she explained on one day she had sex with 3 different men in one day, and that the third one was her husband. She said, don't tell my husband that he was the third one, right? Like that, because, but the reality is that this is not revenge porn because she was driving the train the whole time. And at least that one day she was pulling the train. But that's another thing for another day. And now she's the victim in this story, right? And Senator Tom Cotton has come out, and he says that Elon Musk, he's going after Elon Musk and X for suppressing revenge porn against Democratic candidate. But the reality is, if they're suppressing it because, and I can actually see that if it's revenge porn and the participants are not volunteering to put the video online, then that could be defined as revenge porn. But this is by no definition, by no stretch, is this revenge porn. But this Democrat woman, Susanna Gibson, is running for the House of Delegates in Virginia, very crucial seat in the House of Delegates that may determine whether the Democrats or the Republicans control the House of Delegates. And the Democrats need to destroy the world, the country, and then the world. And so they have to take over at every level of government because that's their bag. And now the pornster lady is the mean people are using this against me. You posted it all online. You were live online. Who are you kidding?
Will you my...
Some of those words we can't use because of FCC regulations. Although we did play yesterday the Senator John Kennedy audio reading from the children's books, the Democrat children's books. And I got to tell you, pretty much nobody else has played the John Kennedy. We had to bleep one word because it had to be bleeped, but we played the rest, and not everyone in media was willing to do that, and I'll leave it at that. Because on account of, all right, let's go to the Mittster. Let's go to Mittens. Mittens Romney is he announced yesterday that he's not going to run for re-election. He's a member of the United States Senate, of course. He's a former governor of the state of Utah, and he was the big boss at the Olympics. He was big boss at Olympics, and did a fine job with them. And he's a very clean-cut person, and he has a nice family. Once he brought his dog on a family vacation, and then, he had to lose the presidency because the media made that into a big deal. That was pretty amazing stuff. But the Mittster, Mittens, he's decided to go bye-bye from the Senate. And because he's now leaving, I guess he's free to speak because you don't have to lie constantly when you announce that you're not going to stay in the United States Senate. Only if you are going to stay in the United States Senate do you have to lie constantly. Mitt Romney bashes Donald Trump as he declines to run for re-election. Breitbart writes, Senator Mittens Romney, Republican Utah, took a shot at former President Donald Trump and criticized him for his lack of leadership during his Wednesday announcement that he is not seeking re-election in 2024. Now, Mitt Romney criticized Trump for calling global warming a hoax. You can depend on Mittens for that. The 11th commandment, never speak ill of another Republican. I was talking about this with the fine people in Fairfax at our Republican gathering last night, where there were lots of great Americans. In a video statement released, Romney also said, well, we've got that. Let's go to Mittens from yesterday at his announcement that he's not going to run for re-election, which I'm sure made a great many people in Utah very happy.
I think it would be a great thing if both President Biden and former President Trump were to stand aside and let their respective party pick someone in the next generation. President Biden, when he was running, said he was a transitional figure to the next generation. Well, time to transition. David Ignatius this morning made a strong argument that we should see that kind of a change. I think both parties would be far better served if they were going to be represented by people other than those of us from the baby boom generation.
Mittens from the baby boom generation. Is Joe Biden baby boom? No, hell no. No, he's not. No. He's unless it's the baby boom after the Civil War. Is he talking about the baby boom after the Civil War? Because that's another thing. Post-World War I, I suppose, for Joe Biden. Yeah, Senator Mitt Romney urges Biden and Trump to stand aside for 2024 and allow a new generation pass the torch, John F. Kennedy, to a new generation. But that was Mittens yesterday. I don't think either one of them is going to take his advice, but I do think that Joe Biden is going to have to cash out one of these days pretty soon. Because, even the Washington Post had an apologetic David Ignatius, the Washington Post yesterday, no Joe Biden, no Kamala Harris. And he speaks for the Democrat Party. He knows that he does. It's all team Democrat, There is I do want to get to Jackie Heinrich from Fox News. You see that Lawrence Jones at Fox News, I think everybody likes Lawrence Jones, is going to become the fourth anchor on Fox and Friends Monday through Friday, which might suggest that a phasing out of one of the others may be in the works. And, is it Ducey? No? Is it Kilmeade? You think so? Huh? Interesting. That's interesting. He seems too busy, a little stressed out, Kilmeade. He's not the lighthearted funster that he used to be. A lot of scowling and looking down, looking kind of like a psycho killer. That happens a lot. He's also doing a 3-hour radio show. It's not for everybody. Not everybody has the kind of stamina that I bring to the dance. Stamina brought to the dance. But before but it is interesting, and I think everybody likes Lawrence Jones. He's great. He's a natural, he's great. He's, well, how would Joe Biden describe him, do you think? Let's go, because I found this crazy story today. A friend of mine in Florida flagged this for me. My friend Tom in Florida. A Girl Scout troop frantically rushed out of a lake after 14-foot alligator entered the water and swam right at them. And this is pretty crazy. Video captured the chaotic moments as an alligator swam directly toward the group of Girl Scouts. They're Girl Scouts. Democrats don't know Girl Scouts from Boy Scouts. They can't tell. The troop leader told the Insider she put herself between the gator, 14-foot alligator. They're dinosaurs. They're roaming free in the United States of America in the 21st century. The scout leader said she put herself between the gator and the girls to protect them. Some of the girls actually jumped into the water when the panic started, unaware there was an alligator, thinking, hey, I'll get away from the danger. People are screaming, I'll jump into the water. And that's a pretty crazy story. A Girl Scout troop in Texas on a leisurely camping trip over the weekend found themselves frantically scrambling out of a lake after a 14-foot alligator decided to slide into the water and join them. You know how they are. The scary encounter, captioned out in video and obtained by a local outlet, KPRC2, took place on Saturday in Lake Raven in Huntsville State Park, north of Houston. Troop leader Nicole Glenn told Insider she was taking a photo of her daughter and another girl who were in the water when it all started. Other girls in the troop were on a dock out of the water, a short way off of the shore. She said, while I was taking the picture, I noticed a log in the water, which wasn't a log. That's not a log. Glenn quickly realized the log was actually a 14-foot alligator not too far away from where the girls were swimming. The 53-year-old mom and scoutmaster dropped her phone, jumped down a set of concrete steps, and landed on the bank. Immediately told the girls to get out of the water. Get out, get out. Girls in the water, get out. She knew the girls on the dock would not be able to hear her. So although they may be safe since they were out of the water and on the dock. And then other people on the shore began shouting, alligator, alligator, and scrambling away. And there's the video, and it's a gigantic alligator, and it's completely crazy. And the scoutmaster said that she jumped into the water and got between the big alligator that was coming right toward him and the girls, right? And she said, you know, I always said I'd do anything to protect these girls. Now I know that claim is true. Isn't that amazing? Pretty amazing story. Let's take a break here. Still got a bit of audio to get to. But that story was too good. And, you know, the great the scout leader who jumped in front of a 14-foot alligator. She said, I knew that this alligator was going to eat somebody. That's what they're doing. There are little girls that'd be like just a snack, an appetizer, little tidbit, eating girls. And the nice scout leader lady saved them all. You think Mitt Romney would do that? I don't know. I have to correct myself. Earlier I was talking about Mittens Romney, who is, of course, the senator from Utah. And I said he was the governor of Utah, and that is obviously incorrect. He was the governor of Massachusetts, and not of Utah. And I apologize for that egregious error. Please forgive me. There is a kind of a funny story that Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, produced a corporate film, a corporate video. And they hired the actress, a great and award-winning actress, Octavia Spencer, to play the role of Mother Nature. And there's a boardroom meeting, and they're talking about how they're going to produce all kinds of Apple products with zero carbon footprint. And then they make a promise in this corporate video that, in fact, their goal is to have a world without CO2, a planet Earth without any CO2 and this is what it sounded like.
Our aim is to permanently remove carbon from the atmosphere.
To permanently remove carbon from the atmosphere, which would, as any school child knows, immediately lead to the death of all life on Earth. Not just the human species, but all mammals would die, and all plant life would die. There would be no trees, no grass. We would be a burned out cinder, and that's their goal. That's their goal. They're the party of science. Keep that in mind at all times. They think there are 130 some odd genders, and they want to eliminate all carbon from the atmosphere, which would destroy the entire planet. Pay no attention to that. Now, I've been meaning to get this, and I haven't gotten to it yet, and I apologize for that. Last night, I went to Fairfax, Virginia, where I joined the Fairfax County Republican Committee for a great gathering at the Fairfax Country Club. And hundreds of thousands of people, showed up, and Chris Breuer was my host, and I had a number of hosts, but Chris Breuer was my contact and my host there. And I received their Freedom Award, and it is a beautiful award. It really is a great award, much more attractive than, your Edward R. Murrow Award or something like that. And it was a great evening. And I got to tell you, it's very interesting to have events like this around here. There were a great many people from the intelligence community, from the Central Intelligence Agency, people from the FBI, people from former FBI and current FBI, former CIA and current CIA. Lots of great comments. An admiral, a now retired 3-star admiral who is an F-14 pilot and Top Gun guy. Great Americans. He coined me. I don't like to use names without prior approval for things like this. Could be sensitive for a lot of people. And it was great. I talked to a bunch of CIA people. And then I went to a podium and I was speaking for a little while and telling some jokes and stuff. And I said, how many people here in the intelligence community? I know I had spoken to like 10 people. And one hand went up, and it was kind of hilarious. It was very funny. It was a retired agency person telling me about his time in Guatemala and Central America and some Nicaragua activity and things. And lots of interesting conversations and lots of great people. And I want to thank everyone for showing up last night because I really had a lot of fun. It was a great event. The nice bartender lady, a wonderful lady, we called her parents at home. She's a listener and her parents are listeners. And we called her parents, did a Zoom call. But thank you to everyone, and thank you for the award as well.